because it wasn't marked online, did it not complain because those files already existed somewhere, so it wasn't actually downloading them?
No, it was. There is nothing that prevents it from having an internet connection. There should be something that prevents it from getting an internet connection, but we haven't implemented it yet.
Right, so you're saying that the default should be to not allow an internet connection, and then the markers to allow those specific functions to have an internet connection.
I mean, if you deselect the offline tests, if you deselect the online tests using PyTest, the tests that are run should not be allowed to have an internet connection.
Yes.
So if one of the tests that were running needed an internet connection, it would fail by virtue of the fact that it couldn't reach the server it was trying to talk to.
Yes, right.
Okay, where are we? Let's close some pull requests, because we've got a nice amount up. We merged 1284. Still open. Trying to find things that are actually open that seem to be working that need reviewing and closing. What we got here.
Have you already talked about the goes?
Sorry, say that again?
Have you already talked about the problem with goes? The goes HTTP.
Yeah, Dan.
Yeah, I've just issued a PR request to fix it.
Oh, you broke it.
Like fast on the move.
Yeah. Good job.
Right, what else we got? How's the pull requests coming along, Jack?
Well, they're fine. So the only problems I was having with the co-alignment refactor will pass as soon as the goes URL thing is fixed. And then when that's accepted, the solar rotation stuff now depends on, that has some breaks which will get fixed by the co-alignment refactor. So they're ready to go as soon as the goes fixes put in. I'll find some tiny edit I can make to the co-alignment functionality, and then that will come through. That should be good to go.
I see that goes PR has passed the tests. Or passed the checks.
It has. That has gone through, so I'm happy to merge that one.
All right. I will.
We should just be able to. Do we need to do that, or we should try and merge this and then restart your. I could just restart the Travis job, I think, on your one, Jack.
Okay. Any failures from that point on are my responsibility.
That should I think that will start it off. Rajul, could you add a regression test to your database fix?
No, not yet.
Just something like, just a really simple query that demonstrates that it works, just so that it doesn't happen again. Also, that needs backporting. So your differential rotation one, apart from relying on it needs your differential rotation one needs master merging into it, Jack.
Okay.
Or will do when will do when your realignment one is merged or something. I think you might probably want to wait until this is finished first.
Yeah.
Why did that fail build? Oh, because I never did restart it.
Yeah. Stuart, you were saying something?
Yeah, could you add a regression test to your database bug fix?
Yes. Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool. That's good. Jack's co-alignment refactor PR seems to be passing slowly but surely.
Victory.
Thanks, Dan.
Good job.
Thanks, Stuart.
You have 2 out of the 6 builds have passed.
Uh,
I don't think the Advair build will pass because I don't think it merges into master when it builds it. I think it just builds the branch. So, apart from needing the needing to fix the merge, your co-alignment, your differential rotation pull request. Do you think that's in need of review? Is it? No, that's it's pretty.
yeah, I'll need to. I'll take another look at it, but I don't think it'll be. I know it's not that much work to do, so yeah, it's almost complete.
I think your clip edges function I have
Yeah.
a feeling they may have merged one of those into AstroPy
Okay.
recently. It would only be in version 1.0, but it might be worth having a look at because we could potentially use theirs for in the future or something.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that was. Do we? Does the rotation pull request require the map cubes to be the same shape, or even the same instrument, or anything?
Are you talking about which one? Which pull request are you talking about?
The solar rotation one.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
Presumably, it does require them to be aligned with one another.
No, it's totally the solar rotation is only based on the time in each map. So you can have a heterogeneous map cube. They'll all get rotated to the same time.
Can it also handle them being at different latitudes?
Yeah, I would guess. Yeah, there's nothing, like I say, it's only just it's rotation based on time. There's no spatial. No. No, I mean the spatial location is no.
Handled on a per layer basis.
Uh, no, I think actually there's a implicit assumption that you're looking at more or less the same latitude. I don't know what that would do if you had a whole bunch of map cubes in a whole bunch of maps at different layers, at different positions at different latitudes. But that's an unusual. What would the use case be?
No, I don't know. I was just wondering whether there should be whether there should be any input sanitization on the map cube. Because the map cube is basically nothing more than a list of maps.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering whether you should be applying any checks somewhere to say this map is crazy. What the hell are you doing this for?
I prefer not to make assumptions about the intelligence of the user. So basically, it's up to them.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was also wondering whether there was anything like throwing in like a completely unaligned map cube is just dumb, and I'm not necessarily convinced we need to catch that because it would just be like, no, don't do that. That's silly. But
I do. So the doc strings do include a piece of advice to check what happens after you apply the derotation and the co-alignment functions to make sure that things have acted sensibly. So that's the only warning that I feel is valid to give. So,
I'm just going through having a little look at it. It looks good, to be fair. I've got no major issues with it. It's same here.
what are you going to make me do now? Are you talking about rotation or co-alignment?
Yeah, rotation still.
All right.
Your co-alignment is nearly done. Everything, OSX is running, but everything else is passed.
That's always the last one.
Yeah, well, I'm sure the hardware it's running on is substantially crapper by virtue of the fact that they probably had to purchase it off of Apple.
Yeah.
Probably just got a bunch of Mac Minis sitting on a shelf or something. Where you, the only comment that I've noticed so far is where you have keyword argument pass through. You should say what function you're passing it through, so that people can go and look up the docstring of that function and work out what the keyword arguments need to be.
Okay.
Otherwise, mostly it seems pretty good. So with the ephemerid stuff, what you've done here is just like bundled it in, right?
Yes. So yeah, it's all in there, and I put it all in private functions, all the calculation stuff, just as a kind of temporary solution until we get proper ephemerids. Then I'm not sure that those functions are even needed or required by anything else. So I thought it would be best to hide those a bit, since we really should replace all that stuff anyway.
Yes. No, that's fine. I was just, yeah. You're just using them in, but they're hidden away, that's fine. But yet you include the hidden function in the all list at the top.
Okay,
Any particular reason for that?
Oh, no reason for that at all. It's just, and probably
I mean, I think what
oversight.
I think the effect that will have is that that docstring would be included in the documentation for that module.
Okay.
Which, if you did explicitly want, it would be okay, but otherwise, I'd probably say get rid of that. Looks good. Map cube solar rotation. That would be nice. I think one other thing that I'd like to, I think I've already written this, I'll have to go hunting for it as base code somewhere, is cropping a box around a point on the solar surface as it rotates. So you say, I want to look at this point in heliographic coordinates as it transits across the disk, and here's my data, and it crops you a fixed window on.
Yeah, well, you should be able to do that now with the rut_HPC function.
Yeah, I don't.
It'll allow you to follow that properly.
Is that the best name for that function? Just thinking about this. I mean, it's offensively IDL. Is my main concern with that, really. What does it actually do?
It rotates a helioprojective coordinate at one point in space and time
Between
to where it will be at another time. If you can come up with another name, that's fine. I'm not attached to any of the names of my children.
I mean, maybe just expand it to like rotate HPC or something would be.
No.
Or rotate HPC coord or rotate HPC coordinate, maybe. Just, it's very
Terse.
terse, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just me being nifty and hating copying things verbatim from IDL. Okay. Everything but the online build has passed, so I'm good with that co-alignment refactor PR.
Good job, Jack.
Who's winning SunPy this week? No, you were winning it last week. Me.
I think that's one SunPy for to last at least the next month.
You've won it for a while. So.
Yeah. Let's see where he is on the thing. He's now the 6th highest committer. You only need another 19 commits to beat Simon, who wrote the whole database package.
That's thanks to all your helpful comments on my PR.
You only need another 27 commits, and you're beating Steve.
That would be a scout word, Harry.
Yeah, if someone could have a look over that co-alignment functionality and refactor PR, that would be good. Apart from that, we should probably talk GSOC and maybe come up with some ideas for some projects.
Where did the light curve refactor end up? That never really.
In a hole.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, so what is currently on the 3-month project ideas page? Let's have a look at this. Chianti Pi and SunPy.
Oh yeah, that was the one that I wrote up quickly.
So who?
Sorry.
Who was? Somebody was going to talk. Was it Stephen was going to talk to? What's his name about it? Who's that guy?
Yes, there has been a email conversation with the lead developer of Chianti Pi.
Do you know what that?
I think we stunned him into silence. We sent him a couple of long emails and he never responded. David, I'm going to delete the now module off that 3-month project ideas page, seeing how it's already been taken. All is quiet.
That's a thumbs up from David. Where is that page again? I've forgotten.
It's on the wiki under 3-month project ideas. Have a link.
What's the so for the Chianti Pi? Is this going to be a complete refactoring of Chianti Pi?
No. I was going to say to Dan that this needs a bit more fleshing out, really. But basically, the idea is to write code that allows us not to use those fixed data files from SolarSoft anymore. Right, Dan? That was the plan.
Yeah, I wasn't exactly in. I mean, I don't have a full knowledge of what is actually involved in that.
No, that's fine. I mean, I wasn't necessarily suggesting that you need to flesh it out. It does need. That's fine. But I mean, apart from, I mean, do you think that replacing those data files or regenerating those data files in SunPy, is that going to be a 3-month project in and of itself? Is there enough physics and stuff behind it that that's going to take a while, or?
I think generating those files in Chianti as it is now is not that big a deal. So I think the issue is more the existence of a Python interface with Chianti than actually producing the files once you've got the infrastructure you need to do it.
Well, there already is a Python interface to Chianti, right? Chianti.
SunPy interface, then. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, so what are the requirements of? I mean, what are the requirements of that interface layer, apart from just calling bits in CiantiPy? Is there certain things that need to be abstracted out of CiantiPy to make it easier for us to use?
I'm not sure because I haven't used CiantiPy before, so I can try and look into CiantiPy and see what can be done. I can also talk to probably Andrew might be helpful to talk to about this, as he's over in Goddard where these are being hosted, and he's next to Kim and Richard, who actually sort of did this stuff. So I can talk to Andrew, and we can try and figure out what CiantiPy needs, what we need from CiantiPy.
Dan, what's your use of Chianti? Is it through those?
Yeah, so basically, in order to get the temperature emission measure and I think even the rate of losses, you need to know. There's these lookup tables, which are related to the GOES ratio and so on. And these lookup tables are generated using Chianti because you get a temperature and emission measure, you produce a spectrum, you put it into the GOES response functions, and you work out the relationship between the GOES ratio or the certain GOES channels and the temperature and emission measure. So then you've got this table, and then you just extrapolate between the values. So I mean, at the moment, it doesn't actually use Chianti itself. It uses these lookup tables that were generated in part by Chianti.
Okay.
Anyway, I like the idea, but if we're going to put it on the ideas page, it needs fleshing out to a 3-month project, basically. I don't know whether there's more.
The licensing conflict between CiantiPy and SunPy.
Sure, that is a problem, but the solution to that problem is that we package it separately until the licensing issue is fixed, if the licensing issue ever gets fixed. I mean, from a student point of view, there's not really anything there's no work to be done to deal with that, really.
Sure.
I mean, we're just going to have to release it as a separate Python package until CiantiPy is under the BSD compatible license.
What you mean, a second Chianti Python package? Second Chianti Py
No,
package?
like SunPy CiantiPy or something. Like that's it. There's nothing else we can do apart from release it separately under a different license because it can't go in SunPy.
So essentially, you'll have duplicated CiantiPy.
No. I mean, routines that SunPy needs are going to have to go, it's going to be SunPy code, but it's going to have to be released separately because it's going to have to be under a different license.
Okay, all right. So then so you'd have to import that separate package and then get SunPy to call SunPy CiantiPy, or whatever you call it. What you're saying? 'Cause that's...
No, you're right. So you're not going to be able to call SunPy CiantiPy from SunPy either because you're just chaining the same problem. So you're going to have to import the second package, and the user is going to have to explicitly call the functions in the second package. So I mean, that's it. That is the only workaround there is, unless CiantiPy relicenses itself. That's it. That's all we've got.
Oh, I'm back. Sorry, connection dropped out.
Yeah, as I was saying, unless CiantiPy relicense itself, that is all we can do. There's nothing else.
Yeah, highly.
We're legally fried there. We have been speaking to Ken about the license. He says he has no philosophical objections to changing the license.
What's the reason for the license? I mean, we're all talking open source here. So what's the license restriction? What are the license restrictions? You can't use it for profit or something?
He chose a license which, if you create a derivative work of the code that is licensed under the GPL, you also have to release your code under the terms of the GPL. The GPL license is explicitly designed to be viral, and that if you use GPL code, your code has to become GPL. Because that is what Richard Stallman is trying to achieve in his life.
You're talking about GPL 3.
No, 2 as well.
2 as well?
Yes. Both GPL 2 and GPL 3 suffer that restriction. What doesn't is the LGPL, the lesser GPL, does not have that restriction. But Chianti Pi is licensed under GPL 2. I mean, the GPL, philosophically, the GPL has its advantages, right, in that it forces all code and everyone who uses that code to release their code. So all the Android phone manufacturers that ever customize the Linux kernel are legally required to release their kernel code because it's licensed under the GPL, which has some advantages. But the problem is that it breaks stuff like this.
Okay, well, why are we using it then?
Because the rest of Python isn't using it, and if we start using it, then everybody who writes Python code has the same problem, you see.
Right.
And
okay.
if you want to know why Python, and scientific Python specifically, is using the BSD license, there is a fantastic essay on the subject.
I feel a link coming my way.
Yeah, wait for it. Wait for it.
That buzzing in your head, Dan, is the feeling of education.
It's never fully went away.
Yeah, I haven't felt it in a long time.
Link.
Anyway, so it seems like there's not a great deal to do, or there might not be a great deal to do in hooking up Chianti Pi and SunPy, right?
Yeah, this is the thing. I don't know how much there is there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because I don't actually myself use these routines to create the lookup files myself. I just use the lookup files. So that needs more investigation.
Okay.
I mean, I like the idea. I think it should be done. I just think that, well, I mean, it's got to be a 3-month project. Like that's, or it's got to be part of a bigger project or something.
All right. I think we've done that one to death.
I think so.
So what about integration of the HESP data archive?
Oh, I have no idea what that is.
It looks very RESI oriented. High energy solar physics data in Europe.
What is it with Steve and GUIs? That man loves a GUI.
All the RESI software is kind of mediated through GUIs and IDL. I think that's the basic. That's where that comes from.
Steve likes GUIs. I hate them. Fiery pattern. They're a pain in the butt. They never work properly. And command line clients are just better. I mean, again, needs expansion. This is something that we haven't done very well in the last couple of years. We have not written very good project ideas. And then we've spent the first few weeks of a project with a student actually speccing the thing. Which to a point is fine, but we do need to do we need to come up with the specs better first, I think. Raoul, feel free to interject. Raoul, Rajul, feel free to interject at this point.
Yeah.
Like, having experienced this. I mean, there's also Helio. There's loads more that could be done with Helio. There's more Ginga stuff that could be done to build on what you did last year. There's also something else I thought of that I've now completely. Oh, and then there's light curve.
My personal opinion would be that the focusing on the objects and fundamental data types in SunPy would be a good idea. So the spectrogram and the light curve.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, light curve is definitely at the top of my list. Spectrogram needs a babysitter, really. We don't have an owner for that, really. I mean, David's the closest we've got, but he's a busy man.
I'm willing to contribute to the light curve, but I just won't have time for the next month. But it sounds
Do you have time this? Do you have time this week?
No.
I mean, I will. I mean, before the end of the week, I'm going to have to spec up a proper light curve idea. I also want to get in touch with AstroPy people and see if I can rekindle an idea we had last year, which was to modify AstroPy table in a way that gives us the ability to use that instead of pandas underneath in the future.
That would be good if we can get units into light curve objects.
Yeah, because I would like to burn pandas with a fiery flamethrower. Not because I dislike it, but just because it doesn't fit as well as I'd like AstroPy to fit properly. Because AstroPy, you can now have columns of AstroPy quantity objects in AstroPy tables. So all that is missing to do light curve and AstroPy table properly is the ability to handle time series, basic time series manipulation, like you can with pandas.
Well, that sounds like a spec right there, or at least the germ of an idea.
Yes, that could be a collaborative AstroPy SunPy thing. So I will send out an email to the relevant people, and I'm pretty sure I have an open GitHub issue on this.
Kind of subclass of table with one. Here we go. It is AstroPy issue 2205. This was the discussion that happened at this point last year, when we were considering doing this, and this was what brain failing. No, I've completely forgotten his name. The guy who did Unified Downloader. He'll come back to me in a minute. I'm so bad at remembering people's names. Rishab, there we are. This was what his project might have ended up being, but wasn't. Was it 2000 what?
Pardon?
2025?
2205. I put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
We had some interest from Justin in September, but nothing ever came of that either. Yeah, I need to resuscitate this. But yeah, I need to read through that and do that again. So it's alright. So there's that, and there's also light curve, like the light curve refactor. If someone wanted to spec a spectrogram project, that would be great, but I don't think any one of us really understands what's needed there well enough to pull that off in 3 days. Is there any other ideas?
I talked to Michael Kirk a little bit about implementing some of his noise suppression code, which is currently MATLAB, and redoing that in SunPy. I asked him to submit an idea, but he's not. That hasn't happened. So that would be more kind of image processing style.
Yeah, no,
That's not instrument specific, is it? Specific, is it?
No, it's not instrument specific. So it's just kind of general purpose noise reduction algorithms that can be applied to any image.
I'm just trying to think whether there's any major upgrade work that could be done to map.
Upgrade's going to come with the coordinate system, right?
Yeah. We really need to finish that. Can someone find me a spare month, or maybe longer? That would be nice. Yeah, anyway, yeah. Dan, if you could try and think of, maybe have a look at Chianti and try and work out what needs to be done there, and whether there's anything. Is there any other things that you'd like SunPy to do in the future that would require Chianti? Like, is there any other? Can we spec up things that other things that Chianti would be useful for? There's Drew did some stuff. Oh, Drew did some AIA stuff with Chianti. What was he using Chianti for? I can't remember.
Oh, was that related to his project he was talking about at SIP work?
Yeah, probably the temperature map stuff.
Yeah. I talked to him about that at SIP work in a while.
I'll have a word with him about that. Because we could. I'm sure we could. I'll have a word with him. I'm sure there's enough use there. It's just a case of getting it together into something that's vaguely coherent and reads attractively to a student if we actually want someone to pick it up.
It just requires a bit more thought and investigation into specific detail.
Yes. Okay, maybe it might be worth maybe starting a mailing list discussion on that idea. Licensing is a technical problem that we'll overcome one way or another.
You mean on the Chianti stuff to send out?
Like, on the Chianti
side. Or the Google group?
I mean, start an email thread about a 3-month Chianti project. See whether anyone else on the mailing list has got an idea, and then Drew will contribute. And then but it's best not to worry about the licensing stuff. Like, we'll deal with that as and when it arrives. I know what needs to be done to deal with that, and it will happen. So.
Yeah, okay. I'll send out just a list asking for any ideas, suggestions.
And I will spend some time thinking about light curve and updating the SEP for the light curve, which will be a project. And then I will also have a word with the AstroPy people and try and start that off as well. Because while we probably won't be able to do that this year, AstroPy table into light curve. Because I mean, the code doesn't exist on the AstroPy side, which means we can't use it because it's not there. It's basically my point.
When you put quantities into an AstroPy table, is each individual element a quantity, or is each column
No,
quantity, row quantity?
a column is a quantity array.
Okay, good.
So each in AstroPy table now, it no longer uses NumPy rec arrays underneath. It has a column class, which is an arbitrary class that holds a column, and a table is effectively a collection of column classes. And when you slice a row, it iterates through the column classes and pulls out the correct value from all of the column classes and returns them for you. And when you slice a column, it returns you the data of the column class.
Okay.
I think. I mean, I only follow AstroPy table like on and off as I see GitHub issues fly past me and read stuff about it.
So why couldn't you just use that as is for a time series?
Because at the moment there's no way to do time-specific indexing and resampling type stuff like Pandas can do.
So you need to include that into AstroPy table, or that functionality, and then just build a light curve on top of that. Is that what you're saying? Or build a separate class which is subclass of AstroPy table.
No, I think we'd get that functionality into AstroPy and then just use it from light curve.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, it's 6 o'clock and my stomach is telling me it's time to go home. Has anyone else got anything they want to?
It's dinner time.
It is dinner time.
Lunchtime.
Food.
It is food o'clock.
It's food o'clock once again.
Yay.
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
All right, thanks, guys. Talk to you next week.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Raoul is on. Raoul, I keep doing that. Rajul is on it. More fixes. Ta-ra!
Bye.
Thanks, Rajul. More fixes. You come back, we're leaving.